Hello everyone, I hope you're doing well. And well, I prepared some videos for you because I want to share some suggestions and tips for this assignment number 4, which will be the second seminar. And I think that you will do a good job because in general the first seminar was quite good. But I also want to share with you some suggestions and tips. So I will divide all that I have to say in shorter videos so you can take a look at specific suggestions and tips. And I will start with the thing about the research purpose and question, because one of the questions that I have received so far is it okay if you change your question from seminar 1 to seminar 2? And the answer is yes. If you want, it's okay. You can change your question and the research purpose and even the research methodology that you proposed initially. It's okay. You can change it. Ideally, it is better if you keep the same plan, because then you can build on what you already have. But if you think that it is worth changing it, it's okay. No problem with that. You can change the question, you can change the purpose, you can change even the methodology, you can change anything that you want. So that's to start with. If you want to change something, it's okay. But ideally, it's better if you keep the same, because then you can save some time. So now that that is sorted out, then my first suggestion is that reflect on the research question and the purpose, because sometimes I've seen that it's not that coherent. Like sometimes the question is not exactly, or it doesn't fit that well with the purpose. It seems a bit weird, but sometimes it happens that the purpose is one thing, and then the question is, okay, maybe it's related to the same thing, but it is not exactly on the line with the purpose. Like, for example, in the purpose, you state that the research purpose is to unpack the process on how managers make decisions about remote work during COVID, for example. And then in the research question, the research question is not about the process on the decision making of managers, because maybe you ask, what are the factors that define how managers decide to do remote work? If you realize it's not in line, because in the purpose you talk about unpacking the process, the decision-making process, and in the question you talk about highlighting or identifying factors. So it's not connected. So make sure that the purpose and the questions are connected. Then pay attention to the words, and I think it's in line with the previous suggestion and the previous tip. If you talk about factors and the word or the verb identify, it is related to quantitative research and positivistic perspective. If you talk about process and understand, then you are talking about qualitative research and interpretivism perspective. So make sure that you don't mix the words. Maybe it's the words that confuse the purpose and the question. So be very careful when you write. Make sure that you are using the right words. So pay attention to the language that you use. And the other thing is that try to communicate the purpose and the question quickly and efficiently. Quickly, because even in the instructions it says briefly present, so you don't have to talk a lot about this. I think you only have to make it very clear. This is a research purpose. This is a research question. So it's like you don't have to spend a lot of time. Like it's not like a literature review, like you have to go really deep. It's like it should come easier, like what you want to achieve with the research proposal that you are doing. And then if I move to the next suggestion, is about presenting the design and the approach of the study. And again, it says briefly. So these two things are briefly, because if you think about it, this is kind of like seminar 1. In seminar 1, you presented the research purpose and question, and then you present the design and the approach. So that's why it says briefly, because it's more or less kind of the same as seminar 1. So in here, my suggestions are that make sure that the design and the approach are coherent. Again, like make sure that the question and the purposes are coherent, and also that the design and the approach are coherent. Like if your question and your purpose are related to interpretivism and qualitative, then make sure that the design includes methods that are qualitative in analysis and data collection. Like please don't don't suggest to do surveys if you want to understand a process. That doesn't work. And also the approach has to be coherent. Like if you propose an approach that is related to qualitative research, then of course all the design has to be related to qualitative. The data collection has to be done through interviews, focus groups, something that focuses on subjectivity and detail, and then the data analysis as well. Like the data analysis should talk maybe like content analysis or discourse analysis, and that the coding of the transcripts, for example, all of these things that you also learned with Brian has to be related to that. And if you are doing quantitative, then of course propose surveys, then propose like maybe a regression model like the one that you did for the quantitative lab, but make sure that it is coherent. That's the first thing. And then when you present the design, highlight what are the data collection and analysis methods that you are going to use. Make sure that you state which ones. And you can use only one data collection method, that's okay. But if you want, you can use two, and then you will kind of contrast. That will help you with trustworthiness and validity and all of these things. Like, for example, you can say like, you are going to do one interview, for example, and also you will collect public documents like news or reports or something like that. And then with two data collection methods, you are kind of overlapping the story to make sure that you are not losing anything. That kind of adds validity, right? And also for quantitative, like maybe you can do a survey, but you can also include like maybe also like public data or some secondary data. It's not mandatory. It's okay if you only include one data collection method, but if you have the time, it's good to have at least two. And then the last thing is that make sure that the approach is linked with the research question and purpose. I think I'm being repetitive here. I think it's kind of the same thing from the beginning. Well, the first suggestion is design and approach have to be coherent. And then this next suggestion is that design and approach are also coherent to the question and purpose. Just make sure that everything is coherent, everything is at the same level. So I think I will stop here, and then I will do a new video.